And I'm back. Woo! Okay. So I hope you can see what I have on the screen, because it's both the inspiration for one of the inspirations for my new project, and a really cool source book to boot. It's also a little pricey the last time I looked at it, but so be it. I'm going to type the name of this in the chat. It's called the Sphere Walker Source Book. And the author is Greg Stolze. And if you look up that name, Greg Stolze, you'll see that he's written a lot of great role-playing games. So what is this new project, and where have I been? And as a bonus, how long have I been gone? I mean, sorry, why am I back? Okay, and why did I leave? So let me start with that. I was trying to figure out how to use YouTube, and to be honest, 45 minutes at a time is painful. 45 minutes or an hour. I had a lot of I had a lot of cool people coming into the chat, and that was fun. But 45 minutes of content was hard, and so I couldn't keep up with it. So I want to have a lot. I want this to be a lot shorter. This one might go 10 minutes. I want other broadcasts to go go less than that. And so let me talk about the new project. Journey and I, if you know Journeyman, let me type a little bit. Let me type a little bit about him in the chat. You probably know me through him on Instagram and Twitter and such. You can find him at Journeyman1029. And Journeyman1029 without the @ is his handle on Twitch. He's my best friend. He's also my my artistic partner. So we decided to work on a role-playing supplement, and the name of that supplement is Veneer, the Book of Mass. And we decided to do something a little different. Usually I write something and then he draws it. And this time he's drawing and I'm writing. It's a little nerve-wracking. I know it's nerve-wracking for him. I would write a line in a story, and then he'd have to figure out exactly how to draw that. Now he draws what he wants, and I've got to figure out what that means in role-playing terms. And so the name of this is Veneer, the Book of Mass, because the through line is a series of magical mass, very, very powerful items, and very interesting ones. You can't look at something that Journey draws and not be fascinated about the story behind it. So it has been fun coming up with a story behind these masks. And so that was one inspiration, Journey, definitely, and his artwork. And the other one was the Sphere Walker source book. And the Sphere Walker source book is a source book for the game Everway, by Jonathan Tweet. A fascinating rules light RPG that is out of print, but they printed so many of them since he was the designer of D&D, one of the main designers of D&D 3rd edition. Everway got printed so much. that you can probably still find a copy of it relatively cheap. Um, and Everway was a game about traveling to different worlds, basically, creating interesting offbeat characters, traveling anywhere you wanted, kind of like a relatively low powered Amber game. And Everway was a source book that expanded. Spherewalker was a source book that expanded on the concepts in Everway. But what was fascinating about it is that Stolze was inspired by another book. A lot of inspiration today. So this book was called The Dictionary of the Khazars, and forgive me, I forget the name of the author, but it's still available on Amazon. And in fact, I've ordered a copy. I read it in grad school, probably around the same time that Stolze read it, and it was a book that took the idea of the unreliable narrator to an extreme. And so the way it was written is that there were 3 different scholars who each wrote a dictionary, or more like an encyclopedia, about these people called the Khazars. And they each had their own entries. Because they're scholars finding different things, they don't always overlap. Or one scholar's entry on one topic might be different or even contradictory, compared to another scholar's entry. And so it made for fascinating reading. One more thing that it did is that it cross-referenced things very well. It hyperlinked in an analog kind of way by including icons in the text of the entries. So if you read about the treasurer of the Khazars in one scholar section of the book, that might link you to a story about the treasurer in another scholar's entry, and so on. And so reading the book, it was a lot of fun. It reminded me of Choose Your Own Adventure. You read the entry, and then you're like, oh, I should go to another page. And you hip around. You hop around. And that was how Stolze wrote Spherewalker. Except that he did not have multiple scholars, but he did have these multiple entries. He did not assert that any of them were 100% true. In other words, it's not written in the way that most source books are. Compare it to the Forgotten Realms campaign setting for D&D 3rd edition, which is perhaps it's one of the high watermarks for the standard way to present information about a campaign. There's a lot of information, and it's all canon. Ed Greenwood does not say, the king of many arrows might or might not be the king of the orcs. He doesn't even let you think that. Of course, the king of many arrows is the king of the orcs. That's why he's listed in the Forgotten Realms campaign book like that. And of course, this city like Waterdeep has a 1.5 million people, exactly as many as it says in the source book, and 27% of them are dwarves, and so on. All that stuff is laid out in the detail that you'd find in an almanac. And it's good at what it does. But Spherewalker took the exact opposite tack. It's meant to be read by the game master and possibly interested players, internalized, and then the game master can use what he likes or she likes. and can change what he or she likes, you know, and can contradict the book. And the book invites that kind of attitude. Of course, you can contradict anything you read. Of course, you can make your own decisions based on anything that you've read. But there's a difference between a book that presents itself as these are the facts of this setting, and these are the stories that this scholar has heard, and who knows if they're true or not, but this is kind of what it's like. Um, so, something else about Sphere Walker is that because Everway is rules light, the Sphere Walker source book was able to be completely devoid of rules. Um, it just didn't need them. Um, and I've always had a preference for supplements that are low on rules. You know, it's not that I don't mind the occasional bit of crunch for a system, but I like to see details. I like to see imagination. And a book is a zero-sum product. You know, if an author chooses to put one page in there that's, let's say, a stat block for one of the characters, then that author has left out possibly a page of setting information. You know, and so you know, another reason I like books that have very little stats is because I play a lot of different role-playing games, and the stat block is not always useful to me. Like, for example, I'm a big fan of a lot of OSR, that's old school role-playing, a lot of OSR products. And the stat blocks in that are based on early editions of D&D, first edition or earlier, and so they're not that useful to me when I'm running a 5th edition campaign. And sometimes I'm running a GURPS campaign, so the stat blocks in 5th edition products aren't that useful to me. And I kind of prefer to make them up on my own. So that's another reason I like Sphere Walker. And that's basically going to be my touchstone. So what else can I tell you about the project? There is going to be an unreliable narrator. Love that guy. A reliable narrator is kind of boring. A reliable narrator is useful when an accountant is explaining to you what you can deduct on your taxes. You want that narrator to be reliable. But in literature, a little bit of uncertainty is a lot of fun, and I would say that games benefit from that too. So we're going to have an unreliable narrator. I might or might not tell you more about him later. Sorry. But he's the one who's going to be going around investigating, learning about the mass, and the stories around them. The book is going to be set up with a lot of entries, not just the mass, but places, people, anything related to them. And those things are going to relate to each other. So what you're going to have is a campaign supplement in disguise, you know, or something that you can use for your own campaign. You read it, you take what you like, you mix and match. And since I'm a writer and a liar, you can go ahead and find your own truth. and present that to your players. And don't forget to lie to them. All right. Just make it entertaining. All right. So that's it for today. And I'll be back. I'll be back soon. Bye.